Good afternoon. I'm here once again with my guest speaker. Today, we're going to generally address the U.S. economy. Let's start off with GDP growth.
Sounds good.
In the fourth quarter of last year, GDP dropped by 6.2%. Today, the revised estimate came out, and it was increased to 6.3%. This is horrible. Gross domestic product is kind of like your heart, the economy's heart. Now just imagine if it dropped, your heart start beating by 6.3%. You would definitely feel it. You'd be weaker all over. It affects every aspect, every sector of the United States economy.
Including unemployment.
That is correct.
Today, the unemployment figures came out, and I think so many people are missing the point. We've actually seen some increases in the stock market. People are completely ignoring economic fundamentals. Today, the jobless claims came out at an all-time, once again, a new high. Now, most people had anticipated about 600,000 job losses, which in and itself is huge. Huge number of job losses. However, they told the media, they being the analysts, told the media, we expect 650,000 initial jobless claims, just so they could more or less soften the blow in the event that it was greater than 600,000. Guess what happened?
I don't know what happened.
It was higher than 650,000. It was at 652,000. This is unbelievable, unprecedented times, the amount of job losses. In addition, ongoing claims for unemployment hit 5.8 million people.
That's 5.8 million people.
Do you know how many states where the population isn't even 5.8 million people?
That's a lot of states.
It's a lot of states.
Shoot.
So now I think you had a recent encounter with a local restaurant.
Yes.
Let's tell the people about this.
I want to explain. GDP growth feeds into unemployment. Now let's talk about how you witness unemployment in your own community. Now yesterday I went down to my local Chili's. The place I go is extremely busy. I hadn't been there in several months. I was shocked when I walked through the door at lunchtime to see that the restaurant was 90% vacant. I mean, it was just shocking.
And now Chili's is not
they're not expensive.
It's not an expensive restaurant.
No,
this is for regular people.
This is not a restaurant at the Ritz. This is not.
This is family oriented.
They are inexpensive, and they were empty. I've never seen anything like that. I was literally shocked and somewhat frightened.
And you know, restaurants, they rely on high volume to make money.
I've been seeing increased sales. You know, restaurants putting out new flyers. You'd see an item for sale, half off. That's how desperate they are.
And you know what's interesting, taking that example a little bit further, you have all these companies that have commercial leases on buildings, such as the Chili's example.
Yes.
And we're starting to see some very scary things, folks, about commercial real estate. Commercial real estate is heading for a train wreck, greater than what we saw on the residential side with the mortgage-backed securities. We're going to have the exact same thing with commercial mortgage-backed securities. You know, I think the consensus is that we'll see a 30% devaluation in commercial real estate.
And a lot of you out there are already seeing this. You've seen the empty storefronts, the empty commercial lots. I mean, it's becoming ghost towns.
The for leases. You have hundreds of thousands of square feet of empty office buildings throughout the country and throughout the world.
And you know what that does? That drives down prices. The landlords can't even make any money because they're competing just to get their spaces filled.
This is really a 1-2 punch for the financial sector. The first punch was the residential side, people defaulting on their mortgages, mortgage-backed securities being written down. Now the knockout punch is coming. Commercial mortgage-backed securities tied to commercial real estate.
And I'd like to add another point to that too. With this second knockout punch, there's also a little jab, and that's going to be credit card defaults. People are just defaulting left and right, as you've seen from some of my videos. Now let's talk about the Treasury sales that they just recently had.
This is great. This is really scary. You know, I think a lot of you out there still have confidence in the United States government to pull us out of this economic depression, and I will readily use the word depression. They have a grandiose plan that encompasses over $2 trillion in economic stimulus that they've proposed. Now, recently, as you all know, the United States government is running on a deficit.
Huge deficit.
Meaning that they have less money coming in than is going out. So now they have to finance that. So they issue Treasury bills, notes, and bonds. Well, on Wednesday, we had the unfortunate pleasure of watching a Treasury bill auction. Really scary stuff. You know, the Treasury came out and said that they were going to offer $300 billion in Treasury bills. And guess what happened?
Well, let me use an example here.
Listen, good.
All right, imagine that you've met this really gorgeous girl, and she gives you her number, and then you set up a date. Then you go to the date, and she doesn't show up. Oh yes,
very true, folks. There was not a lot of interest in anybody around the world buying any more Treasury debt.
No one.
So, folks, do you know what the U.S. government is going to have to do because they cannot raise money by selling bonds?
Well, there's a.
They are going to
pull it out of their asses.
Pull it out of their asses.
Yes.
Yeah. What he's saying is they have a button to push on a computer.
The money button.
The money button. When they push this money button, they are going to artificially create hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars that they're going to credit the Federal Reserve banks around the country. Essentially, printing money, making money out of thin air, and as he said, pulling it out of their asses.
It's like a magic trick. I mean, this is incredible. That money button, I hope they have a replacement because it's going to get worn out at this rate.
Yes, very true. Now, can you tell the folks at home what happens when governments and central banks around the world decide to print money and increase the supply of their own currency?
Oh, this is going to be very fun. Folks, there's a word for that. It's called Zimbabwe. That's right. Yes, the money is going to, this fake money that they're printing, well, real money, but it's not backed by anything. It's just gushing out to the economy, and it is going to increase inflation. I mean, we are going to see hyperinflation, the kind that they started with in Zimbabwe. Things have gotten so bad in Zimbabwe now that they don't even use the U.S. dollar. People use gold to trade for like a loaf of bread and things like that. These are the effects of inflation. Dollars are going to become worthless. Pretty soon people are going to have to carry around sacks of money so they can buy a loaf of bread.
True. And when you get into a hyperinflationary environment, this is the beginning of the end.
For those of you watching this, I would suggest that you buy whatever it is that you want now. If you want that car, go get it. If you want a toaster, go get it. Because when hyperinflation starts, that toaster is going to cost you, what, $500,000?
True.
Anyways, thank you for watching our video today, and we'll be with you as the economy continues
to collapse.